The next pedal in the chain is I guess I ran across it about maybe 2 years ago, and it was one of those pedal epiphanies where I can't ever see myself living without it. It originally, the first version it's of the Soundblocks multi-wave distortion from Source Audio was just a single effect pedal. This is the Soundblocks Pro multi-wave distortion, and it does multi-band distortion, which actually lets you play the chords come out a little more clearly. You can hear the individual notes. You don't get that intermodulation that you get with distortions and fuzz boxes. This will allow you to use the multi-wave, multi-band distortions, or you can use there's settings that are just like the regular distortions, but they're all they're storable, which is on the Pro. Lets you store 3 presets, and you can use it with an expression pedal. I don't use the expression pedal because I get everything I need without it, I think. I'll let you hear it with the amp clean, so you can hear what the what each setting is like. I run the first one on a it's sort of like an octavia, but the pedal has graphic EQ. It has gain, volume, amount of distortion, and it's all storable, which is the thing that makes it perfect for me for live use. Because, you know, if as anybody with a pedal board knows, real estate is at a premium, and you want to get as much stuff in as small a space as possible most of the time. And if you've got a little bit of space left over, you're always trying to find something that'll fit in it. This pedal sounds, the first setting I've got stored sounds like this. So the clean guitar sound with the pedal in. And it works pretty well with simple, it's almost, to my ear, sounds like a distorted Wurlitzer or electric piano or something. I like the way it works with those voicings and fourths that I talked about earlier on. Almost sometimes organ-like, sometimes a little flute-like. One of the keys to using an octavia style pedal or an octave style distortion pedal is they seem to work best when you use your neck pickup. They seem to work best if you roll a little top end off with the tone control, or you roll your volume back slightly. That's how you get the octave to really jump out. The way I have this one set, I don't have that much distortion. Comparatively, I don't have that much distortion dialed in because I can get that from the preamp. But it sounds like this clean. And I like the almost fluty aspect of it. I'm going to roll the tone off. And I find that pedals, you know, effects will inspire you to play stuff you haven't played before. They'll change your phrase. For me, I guess I might be a more reactive player. It'll change the way I play, and I like that. I like when a pedal does that. The next setting on the Soundblocks Pro multi-wave distortion is I've just got it set for a boost with a little mid-range hump. If you look at the pedal, you can see that I've got the graphic EQ, sort of the antithesis of Metallica. It's going like this. It's a frown instead of a smile. I'll show you too here. When I turn this, you can see how the graphic actually works. From patch to patch. So anyway, setting 2 on this is just it's a pretty sizable amount of gain and a less than subtle change in tone. But I like that, and I like using that with the distortion. The last setting is just a. You'll notice that the selector knob that it puts you in the ballpark for different sounds says normal. I'm not really sure what that means, but I guess it's a normal fuzz. It's good for that kind of Jeff Beck Yardbirds fuzz. Maybe a little big muff thrown in there. The great thing for me about this pedal is it's the octave sound octave fuzz sound that I've been hearing in my head for years, or trying to hear in my head for years, and it lets you get sounds that are reminiscent or just like existing pedals, but then you can change those things about those sounds, the things maybe that you didn't like about those original pedals that you wished you could get in there and tweak. This will let you do it. Okay, the same sounds now with overdrive. Now that's just my preamp distortion. Put a little noise gate in there for you. I'll explain that in a minute. Here's the octave with the octave distortion from the Soundblocks pedal. And you notice what the distortion does. It brings out a little bit of envelope. Got this little to it, almost like a touch wah. That was on the bridge pickup. On the neck pickup, it gets a little sweeter. If I roll the tone off, it gets even. And the further up the neck you get, the more pronounced the. And what this does for me is I've made this mistake through the years of hearing keyboard players playing mini moogs and thinking it was actually a guitar player, and this lets me lets me go full circle back to making the guitar sound like something more synth-like, like the Keith Emerson solo at the end of Lucky Man, or Jan Hammer playing with Jeff Beck. When I was first starting to play and I heard that, I assumed that it was Beck, and turned out it wasn't. And so some of the things I actually play today are even, I'll play like spreads that you would normally not play on a guitar, but you would naturally play on a keyboard. I ended up figuring it out, thinking that, well, that must be a guitar player playing it, must be Jeff Beck playing it. So if Jeff Beck can play it, or a guitar player can play it, then why I should be able to play it. And then I realized that I had actually figured out a keyboard lick that guitar players don't normally play. Anyway, enough of that anecdote. The next setting is just the boost, the gain boost. This is the preamp. Without it. The gain boost in this case, because it's already distorting, it's just going to give me, it's not going to give me a volume boost, it's going to give me a saturation boost, which is kind of cool if you're playing legato and you want you don't want to you want the notes to sustain. Here's what it sounds like without it. Not that, almost not that perceptible to the ear, but it makes a huge difference in the way the guitar. It basically causes the preamp to compress even more, which lets you play more fluidly without it. Again, not that audible, but definitely makes me feel freer when I'm playing, which is a nice thing. And then the fuzz. The fuzz is just driving a fuzz into preamp distortion is kind of somewhat noisy. A lot of the time, this has a built-in pedal. Also has a built-in compressor. I mean, sorry, the pedal also has a built-in noise gate, which helps quite a bit when you're running that much gain. But here you go. This is what the preamp sounds like on its own. This is the preamp with the multi-wave distortion on with the fuzz box setting that I've written. You hear a little bit of that grind. Which is different now with it off. It would sound like more controlled, and I like the fact that that introduces the possibility of things going haywire.